What's up YouTube? Welcome back to MMOSWORLD. We are going to be taking a first impressions look at Shadows Awakening. What is Shadows Awakening? It is a top-down ARPG adventure game that has some pretty cool mechanics which we will show off in just a second. As usual, we'll spend about 10, 15, 20 minutes checking out what your first steps in this game will look like. So if there's a tutorial, that pretty much encompasses the tutorial, and we'll also share some thoughts at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and make it a new game here and check it out. So there's 4 difficulty modes: easy, normal, hard, and extreme. And it just tells you, oh, there's a 5th mode, old school, which means quest markers and other navigation will be unavailable. That's pretty interesting for those of you who love the old school games, which has a bit of a challenge. It doesn't spoon feed you and where to go and what to do. So that's pretty awesome for you isometric RPG lovers out there. For the purpose of this video, let's go ahead and do easy to show you guys what the movement and the combat and everything looks like. It has a decent story. It's on Steam. It's not a free-to-play game. You have to buy it. And this isn't like an MMO or anything of that sort, but there's been an ARPG resurgence. So let's go ahead and check this one out.
Perhaps I should feel some twinge of guilt at all I have done, but I've had little time for scruples. It was once an honor to be entombed within these ancient catacombs, but centuries have passed, and now only the brave or foolhardy walk these tunnels. Perhaps I'm the last living soul here, although I'm far from alone. This is not my story, although I am the architect of what transpires. A conspirator in the ruination that threatens the heretic kingdoms. And the most unlikely of alliances that might yet save us all. And Mas Inca Sera Tilbarana.
Thou summons me. What is thy pact?
I seek only that we shall both survive.
Thou hast a liar's tongue, and cannot be trusted.
I do not ask you to trust me, nor should you. I would betray you without hesitation, if I deemed it necessary. But we are fortunate, you and I. We have the same enemies. Our only hope lies in partnership, which is precisely why I have summoned you here, demon.
Okay, pretty interesting so far. When you start the game, chapter 1, you do see a cinematic cutscene. The voice acting is actually really decent. I was kind of thinking that, it would be a cheapo production, but it's actually really nice. This is your top-down view, and this is the demon that we are now controlling, per the story. Apparently, we've been summoned by that old man, and so let's go ahead and move around. So, movement, you can use your left mouse click to move around the map. What about WASD? Nope, that's not for movement, but I'm sure you can keybind everything. Initially, these were Q, E, and R, I think, but I've remapped everything to my Razer Naga to use my hotkeys 1 through 7 instead. So as for the UI, pretty clean look. You have your hit points and your mana points here down at the bottom. Then you've got your inventory, skills, and the more skill points you use, or the more you level up, you can unlock more skills for your demon here, which is called the Devourer. There's talents, so these are your talent trees. Your character, and you can add attribute points here. Pretty traditional in terms of moving up your strength, ability, agility, endurance, willpower, and all that good stuff. You have your journal to track quests, and books. So really, it has that sort of ARPG mechanics involved. So if you're thinking of games like Diablo or Grim Dawn, then if you love this sort of games, then this might be for you. Let's move the gameplay along some more. Ooh, enemy. I just clicked on it and I swiped a finger and it's dead. It doesn't have a lot of combat sounds from this particular moment. Like, you didn't hear me scratch that or anything. As for interactable objects, at the moment, none of these stuff can be broken or used, and there could be a reason for that. Let's move the story along some more. You see I have a skill here, Frost Chain, so the next enemy that we bump into, I'm going to use that one. And it costs 120 mana, so here comes an enemy. Let's use Frost Chain. There you go. We have rats here, but the rats are in purple, and we'll explain that in a second. We have the Shadow Crystal here. Let's go and click that, and ooh. Alright, so we just picked up some silver and some gear as well. Let's open the inventory and see what exactly we got. So in the main hand, we have just picked up a scythe-looking thing, which is kind of nice. I actually like that. It looks good. So let's head to the sarcophagi, and here's the old man again.
Without a pact. So whichever soul you devour will now bind you to a path beyond anyone's control. Choose wisely, demon.
Okay, so now as a demon, we are now going to consume a soul. Here we have Calig's soul, we have, who's this, Jasker, and we have Evia. So we're gonna go and pick, I suppose, let's pick Evia.
The daughter of fire, a princess of the Imperial Garulian Empire. She would have been God Empress if she had not rebelled. She died on the Reliquary Crusade 3 centuries ago. I don't know how. A mage with incredible potential. She had not only harnessed the elemental power of flame, but also learned the mysterious ways of the Sand Mage. Choose Evia if you wish to harness the arcane powers of a mage.
So we are going to harness the arcane powers of the mage, and this is the interesting part about Shadows Awakened, because unlike games like Diablo and all those other ARPGs out there, in terms of how you diversify the combat and gameplay, Shadows Awakening does something different. So we are going to consume the soul of a mage now. Let's see.
Am I dead?
And we just awaken him.
Place?
I know not of this place, but thou art indeed dead. That soul is mine now.
This cannot be! Mother, is this your revenge?
Can you hear me, daughter of fire?
I can.
Do you remember the Reliquary Crusade? Do you recall how you died?
Lady Mara, Tarin, and the others. We were raiding my mother's vault in order to defeat her. I do not remember what happened.
Tarin betrayed you, but I never learned what transpired. This mystery is yours to solve, I'm afraid.
Do not speak as if I am not present, mortals.
Patience, demon. Your fate is bound to Evia's now, as is my own. Now make haste to the city of Thul that lies above this crypt. A cenotaph can transport you there. Our fates are bound together, demon. Either we shall find a way to survive together, or we shall both surely perish.
Thou threatens me?
No. Something far more dangerous than I threatens us all. Join me in the Tholian Arcanum as soon as you can. We have much to discuss.
So that is it. Embody your new soul as a puppet. Nice. So puppets and party systems is what Shadows Awakening does to really stand out for the ARPG genre. And what this means is during gameplay, you can switch, absolutely switch between the characters you're controlling from the demon into the mage soul, who's now been resurrected, obviously. So when you're playing the demon, we are in the shadow realm, and then when you play in the mage, we're in the living realm. So that's a really interesting mechanic. And the thing is, you do see those two empty slots at the bottom here. Let's go ahead and switch to Evia real quick. And there you go. We are now in the realm of the living, and those rats that we couldn't see before, we can now see them. Using your mouse also can, scrolling on your mouse also changes between the characters that you have. And you do realize that we missed the opportunity to pick the warrior here and the archer soul, but they will come later in time, as I said. So that's one of the cool features about Shadows Awakening, and the dynamics are actually really nice. So now we're going to go and knock down the wall as a puppet, and throughout the intro here, we will be making use of both your characters at your disposal. As for the story, you know, oh, here we go, some combat. Well, because the difficulty is easy, I pretty much one shot at that, but you know, harder difficulty means it's going to take longer. But yeah, the story so far is pretty interesting because you're not only playing to find out what happens to, you know, in other games, it's just one player's character story, what happens to me and all that stuff. Here you're wondering what's going to be happening to 3 different characters. The soul that you've consumed, who had her backstory with her mother, the demon himself, the devourer, and the hooded man. So this is a really interesting way to set up the story. Now you can go back and pretty much interact with all the other interactable objects out there that you missed. Oh, here's the spider, and I just used my skill there, which is fire breath. Now if I swap back to the devourer, you'll see that I can't interact with all this stuff. But you know, swapping back to the mage, it can be done. As for animations, it's a little sluggish. It's not as quick-paced or fast-paced as games like Diablo or Path of Exile. But the graphics do look good, I have to say. And because I only have one skill right now, and I'm not being surrounded by a ton of mobs, it's hard to gauge just how fluid and smooth the combat gameplay would be. Let's go ahead and open up that brick wall, and let's go into the Forgotten Tombs. Lots of spiders in the area. Ooh.
Does not fear me.
I'm a princess of the imperial family. I fear no demon.
So that is cool.
Thy soul is mine.
I like
You keep telling yourself that.
I like the interaction between the soul and the demon, and you know, if that didn't happen, it'll be a very bland experience because, you know, it's a hard thing to fathom. Okay, some demon has consumed my soul and now I'm awake. So it's nice to see that little interaction, which is always a staple for good RPG games when you're out in a party and just adventuring. If, you know, the NPCs don't talk to each other, then it gets kind of boring and bland from a story and lore perspective. The world, as you can see, is pretty much... Uh-oh, what's this? Parallel realms. So your avatar exists simultaneously. So what this simply means is that when you're out and exploring the world and you come across a bridge that has crumbled, so the mage can't use it like a blink skill or whatever, that's where the devourer comes in. So by swapping over, whoop, and all of a sudden, oh, okay, we've got some enemies. So you've got enemies not only in the human world, but in the demon world as well. And we have just leveled up. So before we go over there and kill some good stuff, I'm going to open up the talents real quick. And you'll see the plus character here. That simply means, or the plus icon. Now we've got some points to spend in our attributes. So you can either change the demon to be a more tanky type thing. You can already see he starts with a lot of endurance and strength. I'm going to put 3 into strength and 2 into endurance. And move over to Evia, who also has 5. And because she's a mage, obviously willpower and agility will be important here. And confirm that. Now under skills, I do have, let's see, because I'm level 2, Curse of the Desert. Interesting. Turns her enemies into scorpions upon death. That sounds cool. Let's go ahead and pick that. Just drag it to her slot like that. That's how you activate skills. As for the demon, Shadow's Wave sounds good. So let's go ahead and buy Shadow's Wave and put it there. Now you do have a bunch of skills here, maybe 10 or less, but you only have 3 active skills at any one time. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and use Shadow's Wave. That looks good. Soul Stone of Drain. What is this? This basically heals you. Yeah, replenishes my souls of the fallen enemies. So it's always good when you come across the landscape to pick that up. And I've got 6 out of 6 down here, as you can see. Over here, you have a mummified archer. And obviously, since I can't hit this guy, I'm going to go back to my mage and finish this one off. So that is how gameplay works here. And it's really interesting. I do like that dynamic because it's pretty strategic. You have to look at the landscape and figure out, okay, is this for the demon or is this for the soul that I'm currently playing? And I do find that really unique. Another interesting thing to note is that, you know, stuff that you pick up, like, oh, here's a puzzle, by the way, to get rid of the fire trap. So here's a lever. The gear that you pick up, I just picked up a helmet, and you can see my character wearing that helmet now. So cosmetics will change the moment you pick up. That could be important for you guys that want to look good. Ooh, Soulstone of Mysticism. What is that? That's a level 4 gear. Let's go and check that out real quick. Where's... Well, I can't really see my inventory. I can't really see it because it's a level 4 item. So, is there a way to see my stash? No usable items, unfortunately. Oh, that's right there. No, that's not the one. Yeah, I did pick up something really awesome there. Kind of weird though. It's a level 4 item. Alright, let's go up here, and I'm sure... So let me just use the curse. Oh no, I missed. Alright, so aiming could be a problem. Oh, there it is, right there. It's turned to a scorpion, and it's now dead. Here's another one, a blue item. So for better rarity, I suppose. Swapping back to the demon just to make sure that I get the extra mobs for the XP, which is always going to be good. And let's turn off the final lever. And now we can go across. Now, another thing about Shadows Awakening, because it's almost like a classic hybrid ARPG set, you can hit the escape button and manually save the game, which I highly recommend you do for certain checkpoints, especially if you're playing on a difficult level or something. Okay, looks like we have a bunch of enemies here. Let's go ahead and take them down. Dead and dead. What's up here? Sarcophagus, and here's a book. We already do know that there is a book section in your inventory like this one. Let's go ahead and open that. You can't really open that, so you have to use the UI to read. I mean, it's not a whole much of words there, so it's just a bit of backstory if that's something that you want. And now, because it's broken and crumbled, we can use our demon again. Oh, more stuff to fight. Yeah, the demon's really powerful. I like playing the demon. Curse you. And done. Let's open up more of these sarcophagus. Ooh, rusty glaive. I can't use that, but I've got the old hardy boots, which is a definite upgrade. Swap back to the demon. And it looks like we have to go up here again. Nope. I missed the doorway. The doorway was back there. There we go. So the demon world, it's a different design, so it could put you off. As for... Okay, we have just arrived in a spot where we need to solve a riddle. So let's go back to... It looks like we can't cross. Let's go back to the human world and see what's up. Ah, it's moving. So how does one get across? Clever, very clever. Nice. So in the demon world, everything stops. When you go back to the mage world, it moves. So you got to time that, and wham, there we go. That's actually pretty awesome. I do like that. Wham. One more. Wham. Easy. All right, now let's find that cenotaph to escape the. Uh-oh. A little cinematic for a giant spider here. And what is that? Oh, that's the exit. So use both characters to escape the tomb, says the tutorial here. Let's go ahead and swap over to demon so he can... Alright, so the demon breaks the first shield thing that the spider has. And because the spider's now in the red health, I can't really use the demon anymore, so that's where I used to mage. But this could be really fun later on, especially with harder fights and everything. The spider is now dead, and that is the exit. I'm having a lot of fun so far. This is different from the usual ARPGs that I play, in the fact that instead of starting your tutorial with one character, you do get two characters, and the fact that you have to use both of them is a breath of fresh air. So now I can't get on top there, so what do? We go back to the demon, and there we go. And oh, but there are a bunch of sarcophagus in here, so always check. If you're a long-time player, you always have a good habit of checking things.
This must be the cenotaph the hooded man spoke of. Its power reaches shadow. There is much I might do here. This cenotaph is erected upon the graves of many dead mortals. It shall be easy to gate weave back to this place, should I find another such monument. And I sense a gate here already. The hooded man's work, mayhap. It must be the way out he mentioned.
Okay, and here we go. So, what are we looking at? This is the world map. We are at the Cenotaphs right now, and it does have a description of what the area is. And now we're going to go to the house cellar, I believe. So, unfortunately, clicking on the house cellar icon on the map doesn't do anything, which is kind of weird. I would expect better UI functionality here from the game. Unfortunately, you have to use the left side to pick where you want to go. So house cellar is where we want to go. So clicking on that will take us to the new area. Ooh, the design's actually really nice. And here we are. Now we got to exit the Forgotten Tombs again and find the Arcanum in Toll. Let's go back to the Mage World and see what everything looks like. Let's open up the map a little bit. It has Fog of War and everything, so you can't really see much until you explore. Unfortunately, guys, we've hit the 21-minute mark, so we have to cut this short. So let's wrap up here our first impressions and, you know, your first steps, showing you guys your first steps in game for Shadows Awakening. First of all, the gameplay and the concept of moving between characters and worlds is clever, it's intuitive, and it's really fun. Later on in the game, there's going to be so many more puzzles and adventures that will require you to use and take advantage of that mechanic, which is rather fun because not a whole lot of games out there uses that. The presentation for the story is really good. I like the voice acting involved. I like the cinematic quality, the design of the game. It's not as, like, from a graphic perspective, it's not the best to look at, but, you know, for a game like this, performance is always going to be king, so it hasn't given me any issues whatsoever. There's not a whole lot of customization available though, so you only have those 3 souls and those 3 characters. You can't really do much to them except change their outfits or whatever. As for a UI perspective, this is not one of the best UIs I've seen for an ARPG game, let's just put it that way. It's a bit clunky, it just doesn't look like a modern ARPG, but it's the gameplay that really matters. So overall, for me at least, this is one of the best new ARPGs to play in this year. I highly suggest you check it out if you can on Steam, put it on your wish list, and hope that the upcoming Black Friday sale has this on sale. So that is it from us at MMOSWORLD. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. As ever, I'm Aiden from MMOSWORLD, signing out.